Senor Ghostface is back for more blood, but this time he has a whole new diverse cast of teenagers to go through, and they all share the same characterization of being meta. You can't poke holes in the story if we do it first. It seems they've all studied at the Matrix Resurrections School of Writing in Scream. Hello there, you Lucians, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Isles. Here we are for the 5th installment of Scream, and to see if it's as good as the others. Directed here by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. Don't know if I butchered those names, probably bloody did. They directed another awesome horror film in 2019 called Ready or Not. Highly recommend that one. The Scream franchise has always been known for being super meta. That's half of its appeal. It's a slasher film that's being meta. Wes Craven reinvented the slasher film for the 90s, and I love it. In fact, it is my favourite slasher franchise out of all of them. Out of Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, all that stuff, Scream is my number one. But here, this film goes full J.J. Abrams with its meta references, and seemingly a script written by Quentin Tarantino on a self-referential coke binge. Like previous installments of the Scream franchise, we have nods to horror gods in the names of characters such as Wes, Loomis, and Carpenter. And of course, going down the meta path here, we get a commentary on modern horror, or what's been released in the last 10 years or so, and how it's all changed. It's not necessarily slashers anymore, it's more of the artsy variety. Movies like The Babadook, The Witch, It Follows, and even Hereditary gets a mention here. We get a massive commentary as well about sequels of films and reboots and stuff, and how they like to insert numbers into the titles, or at least they should anyway. Like, obviously the Stab franchise that's in the Scream movies. The latest one in this is Stab 8, where they rebooted or something like that. But a character in the film comments that the part 8 could easily be replaced for the B in the Stab title here. I don't know, kind of a commentary about the movie that we're watching, how the number 5 could be replacing the S in the Scream title. But of course, they talk about how modern remakes or sequels and stuff of original films just use the same title of the original film. Halloween 2018, I'm Looking at You. There's also a term that they use in this movie called a requel. It's not quite a sequel, it's not quite a remake. But to make your requel seem legit to the real true fan base is you must insert legacy characters. That's right, we're getting real meta now. Because fan bases of the original films, well, they talk about anyway in the film, they seem to get upset when you do a shot-for-shot remake of the original with just crappy unknown new actors. But to make your requel seem legit, you must insert legacy characters from the original. Again, Halloween 2018, I'm Looking at You. Of course, we get a new fresh cast of disposable teens of diversity, all sorts here, but most of them are linked to legacy characters. We get Mr. Frosty Tips, whose mother is Sheriff Hicks, who popped up in Part 4. The Meta Twins, whose uncle was Randy Meeks, and of course their mother being his sister Martha Meeks. Unfortunately, discount Billie Eilish isn't related to any legacy characters, but hey, she's the most Gen Zer of the lot, and the most annoying, so there's that, I suppose. But we do discover that the Carpenter twins, the pseudo-leads of this film, have a dark family secret that tries to make the whole Scream saga come full circle. Speaking of legacy characters, Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox pop up, about an hour before the end. I really wish they were in this film more. But like the film commentates on, you just got to insert the legacy characters to make this sequel more legit. But of course, the MVP, the star of the show for me, was Dewey himself, David Arquette. This guy is awesome. He really does need to be in more films in this day and age. He just oozes charisma and charm. He's effortlessly funny. He's just great. He lights up the screen every time he's on there. Love David Arquette. I want to see more of him. On that note, I do highly recommend his wrestling documentary, You Can't Kill David Arquette. It's actually worth a watch. Also with this new young cast, they probably shouldn't be friends with each other because they spend pretty much 90% of the film pointing fingers at each other because, see, they've all seen a Scream film before. They read the script and they know that one of them must be the killer. So, yeah, their whole friendship is just accusing each other and being suspect on one another. Bloody Gen Z is always fighting about something, getting up in arms about who knows what, climate change, pronouns, human rights. They're all bloody busy bees, these silly little buggers, aren't they? Now, I'm not going to spoil the ending of who the killer is and whatnot and what the reveal is, because, yeah, I do go see it. It is a Scream film. But however, I am going to spoil the motivation for the killings, which I think is pretty much important for this review and to make up your mind about the film. So again, I'm not going to spoil who the killer is, but I am going to spoil their motivation. So you've been warned. Spoiler alert! The motivation for the killings in this film is toxic fandom. That's right. You heard correctly. The motivation is toxic fandom. Fuck. Way to throw the first punch there, movie. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy! The film went full-blown meta. That's right, it went so far meta it came right back around to the metaverse and had a go at a fan base who hates these remakes and reboots from bloody crappy Hollywood, having a go at said fan base. We're also trying to market this film to the fan base, and oh my god, what the fuck is happening to my head? You see, we're clever in this film because if we make fun of the holes in the plot and the fan base, they can't make fun of us. I hate it. It's obviously a reaction to the reaction of the Bukkake Party of sequels and reboots in modern Hollywood at the moment. And again, it seems like they're jabbing first before the fan base have a hissy fit. Yeah, reboots and sequels and remakes and all that stuff, they're having a go at that, saying that they're just crap and fan bases are sick of that stuff. But however, a recall is acceptable. Recall. Fuck, that's going to catch on, isn't it? But how are the kills? It's a slasher film. How are they? Yeah, they're pretty stock standard, pretty lackluster, uncreative. The other films are way better. This was just sort of run-of-the-mill. It's not the worst film I've ever seen. However, it is the weakest in the Scream franchise, I would say. If you asked me back in the day what the weakest one was, I would have said it was the third installment. But upon reflection and, watching all the original films again, Part 3 has a little bit of a charm to it. It's very tongue-in-cheek, it's having a go at Hollywood and all the tropes and stuff like that. So it has a bit of charm to it, so it gets a pass for that. So this one is easily the weakest. Yeah, this film is pretty meh. It's pretty convoluted, to be honest. I mean, yeah, go see it. It's a Scream film, which is cool. But yeah, keep your expectations low. Guys, that's my review of Scream 2022, not Scream the original, because we've got to name the sequels or the recalls now, the same title the original had. Please write down below, what is your favourite Scream installment, if you are in fact a fan, and if not, what slasher franchise do you like? And of course, if you have made it this far into the episode, please give us a thumbs up because your love and support keeps us going because we love movies, and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon because we give out episodes weekly, and we'll see you next week for the next review, and until then, stay spooky, kids.